Hey everyone, welcome back to the Porter Says podcast. I am your host and only host, Heath. Right, so 5th episode. I thought, speaking of Porter, I should say, he is over there currently itching because he has a curse or something where he just won't stop itching at all. He might come up and make an appearance. I can probably get him up here if I need to. So in today's episode, it's going to be, I think I mentioned it in the 3rd or 4th episode, where I was going to do, a segment, or not segment, but something to do with like favorite Christmas movie and favorite Christmas song, or best, what I think is the best Christmas movie and best Christmas song. So that's what I'm going to do today. It's a little bit early, it's currently it's Thanksgiving in America and stuff like that. But getting close to December, not too long. I think about maybe next week or this weekend. It's when Christmas, 1st of December, is going to hit, I should say. And I just figured, why the hell not, And as you can tell, we're in a different location of the house. I've got Thor right here because I did promise my friend who got me this that he was going to make an appearance in every episode, and he wasn't in every single one so far. And then I've got this really cool framed Peter Pan picture signed by Jeremy Sumpter himself, which I think is really, really cool. So those are the display items today. So let's get on with it. I have a list of Christmas movies and Christmas songs. So let's get on with that. As I said, looking at my notes because I'm really professional. I figured why not be this professional at my job. I said that in the last episode, like, I'm so professional at my job. It's not even my job, but I want it to be. So I figured I would just say it to, why not? So I'm going to go through the songs first because I have more movies to talk about than songs. So I'm going to go in order of how I've written them down. And if I do look down, I'm sorry. So, all right. So the first song that I want to talk about is, a classic Christmas one. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It doesn't really matter to me which version it is. There's one I listen to from the Arthur Christmas film soundtrack. That is, I think, is Justin Bieber. Yes, I know. Leave me alone. So I think that one is a really good version. And it's just a good song overall. Like, it gets you in the Christmas feels and it makes you feel all cozy and stuff like that. And then there's this one called Happy Universal Holidays, which is like I think it's sung by a couple of different like Disney actors. I can't remember. One of them is from the movie Lemonade Mouth, one of that Disney Channel original film that I actually haven't seen. But I do want to. Good song, short, but very, very catchy, and has got this really cool like hip hop beat to it. So I'd recommend that one. Then Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays is, another one that's kind of a classic, sung by a bunch of different people. I know Pentatonix did their version, all a cappella, and then NSYNC did their own version. And then I've got this one called Think of Christmas by Annie Marie, I think her name is. And this is from the movie Happiest Season with Kirsten Stewart and some other actors, but I can't remember their names actually at the moment. I only kind of like picked up on this song about a year ago when I rewatched the movie, and I think it's really, really good. I think it's an underrated Christmas song, and it needs to be played more. I want to hear it being played more. And then, sorry if I'm rushing through these, but I want to get to the films. And then the last one I have is Santa Doesn't Know You Like I Do by Sabrina Carpenter. This is off her, I believe this was like a little Christmas EP. Big fan of Sabrina Carpenter, by the way. I think she's I think she's one of the best female artists working today. She's getting a lot more popular now, but I was a fan of her like 4 years ago, and there's probably people who were fans of her when she first started, but I only got on that train 4 years ago. So, don't blame me. Don't blame me for that. Yeah, I think this one in particular is probably, again, really underrated. I think I've heard it on the radio, or I've heard it being played somewhere a few times, but again, not enough people talk about it, not enough people play it. I think it's really good. It's got, it's funny. It's got does it have a good yeah, it's kind of got a good message, I guess. Yeah, it's got a good beat. Sabrina Carpenter's vocals are great. Simple. So those are the songs. Now to the movies. So I'm going to go from actually the bottom of the list. And when I say bottom, I mean like how I've, when I wrote them, I have the first movie I'm going to be talking about is at the bottom. So I'm going to go up to the top. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. You're not stupid. I don't know why I keep looking at my microphone. I feel like this is a person. So let's go with the first Christmas movie, Elf, from 2003, with starring Will Ferrell, and then Ed Asner or something. I think his name is. He plays Santa Claus in this one. Zooey Deschanel, a lot of well-known actors. Actually, I would also like to, before I get on with this movie, I'm also, at the very end of this episode, I'm going to pick what I think is the best Christmas movie out of this list of films, and then I'm also going to pick what I think is the best song. So stay tuned for that if you are still at the end of this episode with me, which I really hope you are. So, Elf, 2003. I think it's great. And a lot of people tend to think it's overrated. I don't. It took me a while. It grew on me, because I saw it not a whole lot as a kid, but over the past 3 or 4 years, the movie really, or not even a few years, probably more than that, it really started to grow on me, and it became, I started to see how it is considered a Christmas classic by many. I think Will Ferrell is great in this film. I know a lot how some people feel about him, and he can be hit or miss. I think very hit or miss for me. He's got some really great comedies, and then he's got some stuff that's not great. But I like him. I think he comes across as a very genuine person. And the character of Buddy the elf is hilarious, and yeah, I think it's also really heartwarming. It's got a great soundtrack, fun story. It gives you the feels. It's one of the movies where I think you can watch it on one of the many Christmas movies you actually watch on Christmas Eve or even Christmas Day. So that's what I would say about Elf. I think I understand why there are people who don't like it. Sorry if I'm moving my hands again. I'll keep it over here. I understand if there are people who don't like it. I get it. It's pretty stupid. It's very silly and juvenile and all that. And there's stuff about it that doesn't really work. But overall, I think it's become one of my favorite Christmas movies to watch. And then, actually, speaking of which, because I mentioned this movie not even, like a few minutes ago, probably a little bit more, I don't know. After Christmas from 2011 with James McAvoy, Jim Broadbent, Hugh Laurie, Imelda Staunton, I believe. This is like one of those, I don't know what animation studio, Blue Sky, maybe? I can't remember. I'm stupid. Anyway, let's get on with this film. Shocking. I pretty much kind of love all these movies, so you're going to just hear a lot of positivity on this episode, actually, which is most episodes so far, but I've been negative, in a future episode I might be negative throughout the entire thing on a movie, but we'll see. After Christmas is, in my opinion, one of the most overlooked and underrated films ever, and animated movies, Christmas movies of all time. It doesn't get the recognition it deserves. I can see some people not liking it because like the animation does look a bit like janky at times and stuff like that. But I really like it. Okay, I was very late to it because I think I only watched it for the first time in 2015, 2016. I don't think I actually saw it back when it came out. But when I did eventually see it and I was a teenager, I was like, this movie's great, and I think it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it would definitely be in that list, which there's a future episode on that for sure. Yeah, I think people need to watch this one more. It's really, really good. It's got a great message, and I love all the family stuff in it, and I love the soundtrack. I love one of my favorite sequences actually is when Arthur goes with his like grandfather, voiced by Bill Nighy, who is so funny in this movie. Love Bill Nighy, not Bill Nye the Science Guy, Bill Nighy. Surely you know him. He's in Love Actually, which I believe I will be talking about very soon. They end up in, I believe, somewhere in Africa, and there's this whole sequence where they have to get away from the lions and stuff. So funny. Arthur uses like these shoes that he has that light up to distract them and all that stuff. I don't know if I'm selling you on this movie, but I'd say give it a watch around this time of year, because I will definitely be watching it very soon. And then, speaking of Love Actually, another movie it's again one of those movies I didn't expect anything, and it does have a lot going on, but it balances it so well. All these stories you see, and all of them are compelling. There is not one that's dull or boring or uninteresting, whatever you want to describe it as. It's hilarious. It's heartwarming. It's very emotional in some scenes. Every single actor does a good job. You got Andrew Lincoln in here, which a lot of people know him as Rick Grimes from the Walking Dead series, but this is one of his earlier roles, and he's really good in it. You got Keira Knightley. You got Thomas Brody Sangster from The Maze Runner. Liam Neeson. Hugh Grant, who's by far one of my favorite actors ever. I love him to death. He kind of plays the same character in every movie, but he does it really, really well. Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, all this just amazing cast, I think. If you don't watch this movie around Christmas time, then why? It's really good. Watch it. I know I've said that a lot, but I don't know how else I'm going to sell you on this movie. The cast alone should sell you. Come on. Give it a chance. Like, it's very cheesy, which all these movies are, and all these songs are super, super cheesy and cliche, but I think it's an incredible, incredible movie. Uh-oh. Porter is currently chasing a fly, and he rarely does that. So, I'll see if I can get him to come up on the couch. Oh, is he? Oh. Anyway. Uh-oh. Here he goes. You might hear him in the background. Here he goes. So yeah, Love Actually. This is one I actually would really, really... I strongly recommend all these, but this one in particular, and maybe the next couple, I want to, watch this. I think you will like it a lot. So yeah. And then we have one of my favorites ever. Again, I've said that a lot, but this one in particular. The Santa Claus from 1994. No, it came out in 95. Yeah, 95, right? Someone correct me on that. With Tim Allen as Santa Claus himself. To me, Tim Allen's the only Santa Claus in my mind. He is fantastic in this role. This movie is a classic. It is incredible, I think. It's so emotional, but in a good way. But then there's also emotional scenes where it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Like when he gets his custody and visitation rights taken away, to not see Charlie anymore. I love the character of Charlie so much in this movie. Like, who wouldn't want to, like, have their dad as Santa Claus? And what kid wouldn't go to the school and yeah, my dad's Santa Claus, this is the job he does, and brag about it and get people like, no, you gotta believe me, he really is Santa Claus, And the character of Neil, hilarious, love him to death. I love that actor as well. I need to see more of his stuff. And to also, give my thoughts on the other two Santa Claus films and the Disney Plus TV show. Second movie's really good, nowhere near as good as the first one. Third one's fine. Like, third Santa Claus movie's fine. It's watchable, it's entertaining, but it wasn't really necessary. You could have really ended the story at even the first one. I don't think you really needed all this other stuff, but and then the TV show is pretty good. I like it. I enjoy it. I'm keen to see a third season. So that's, and what else is there really to say about? Hello. What else is there to say about the Santa Claus? I think it's just, I think most people have seen this movie. What do you want? What does Porter want? Hey, does Porter want to say something? Hey? I know. I'm sorry. Oh, is that right? Him and I are having a conversation right now. What? What do you want to say? I know what he wants. He wants to go. You want to go outside? Okay. Give me a second, guys. Whew. Right. That was loud. Sorry about that. What was I saying? Right. Santa Claus. It's awesome. I think I've watched it pretty much every year for Christmas, and I'll continue to do so. Once you get to the North Pole and stuff like that, it's such a magical place, and it gives you like these really cozy vibes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, what else can I really say? It's a great film. Tim Allen's awesome. I just love Tim Allen in general. I think just about any movie I've seen him in, I like him at least, even though there are films of his that aren't great. I think he is easily the best part of a lot of movies. Right. Next film, How the Grinch Stole Christmas from 2000 with Jim Carrey as the main role. I don't understand the hate for this movie. I don't. I really don't. I think it's a classic. Take a shot or take a drink every time I said that. Jim Carrey owns the role of the Grinch. He is perfect in this role. The makeup and stuff like that, and the set design of his lair up in the mountains is great. Yes, the Who's are terrifying to look at. They are nightmare fuel. Holy crap. They are terrifying. Yikes. It's just such a heartwarming movie. Like, the ending gets me every time, and it's a really funny movie. The only thing I will say is that it is impressively ugly. Like, the way it's filmed and the color grading and stuff like that, it's a pretty, like, disgusting looking movie. But aside from that, I watched this movie I don't know if I've ever gone a year without watching this at Christmas time in December. People hate on this movie too much. Say what you will, but you cannot deny that Jim Carrey, like I've said, I just said it, but he really owns that role of the Grinch. Like, nobody else could actually do what he did. He is so just incredible in this role. He's really good. Cindy Lou Who's great. I mean, I'm not like massive on her character or anything. Like, she's not the best thing ever, but I I like her. I see where she's coming from, and by the ending, when she convinces everybody to warm up to the Grinch, and when the Grinch goes, oh my god, maybe Christmas is great after all, like, and his heart grows 3 sizes. It's such a heartwarming scene. You got the dog Max, who's a standout, and all that. And also, fun fact, I don't know how many dogs they actually had to play the character of Max in that movie. I think it might have been 1, actually. Yeah, it's 1. But, yeah, and if it is, fun fact, that's a girl dog. That's a female dog playing Max, which, obviously nothing wrong with that. Like, why would it be? I just found that interesting, and I thought, if whoever didn't know that, now you do. So that's The Grinch from 2000. It's easily the best Dr. Seuss adaptation, which isn't really saying much. Like the original animated movie from like the 60s, it's good. It's pretty good. And then the Benedict Cumberbatch one is also like alright, but nothing for me tops the Jim Carrey one. So, and then finally, how am I going for time? Oh, okay. Wow, I'm recording as long as I thought I was going to. But to be fair, I want to try and talk about these movies for as long as I can. I hope you actually are enjoying this one too. Very much like my other episodes, it's all over the place. I'm kind of rushing through stuff. But the thing is, I don't want to bore you guys for too long. And I try to make these videos as about as long as I can, but I don't want to go like full on about everything. So see, this is the problem with Porter. I'll let him in after. You've seen him. He came up. He made his appearance. Porter loves nearly all these movies, by the way. Just saying. That's his opinion. Now, the final 2 movies are just awesome. I adore these films. I grew up with them. I watch them about every year. Home Alone 1 and 2 with Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister. There's only, I don't know like how many movies there are really that mean so much to me, but these ones in particular, Home Alone 1 and 2, mean so much to me. Every time I watch them, I just go, some people hate on these 2 movies, especially the second one. I don't get it. Yeah, the first one is a bit stupid and unrealistic, but it's a freaking movie. Get over it. And then you got the second one. It's like, oh, it's the same movie over and over again, but it's in New York. Yeah, so at least it feels like somewhat like the original. It's not a completely different feel. Like, it doesn't feel like a Home Alone movie. It feels like a Home Alone movie to me compared to the other ones that came after it. So I'd rather have a sequel to a movie be somewhat similar to the original, or maybe exactly like it, than one that doesn't feel like anything like the previous movies. The soundtrack of Home Alone. I mean, I think it was John Williams who did the score. Like, the finale score gets me so emotional every time. When Kevin looks out the window and he sees Old Man Marley, who he's been afraid of the entire movie, and then he meets him in church, and he comes up to him and he goes, "Merry Christmas," and Kevin goes, "Huh, you're not, wow," and they have this really heartfelt conversation, and you got this really super heartfelt ending with Kevin's mum returning and all that stuff, and of course you got the wet bandits, Harry and Marv. That whole sequence of the traps is so... Every time we get to that part in the movie, I lose my shit. The movie just gets so... it was comedy gold beforehand, but it just goes up a massive notch when it gets to that scene. Like, the pain these two are feeling, like... It's just so good. And then even the second one... These guys should be dead with all the traps that Kevin sets up in the in the second movie from electrocuting one of them and throwing bricks and like dropping tool sheds on them, all stuff like that. Just, they should be dead. Like, come on. Yeah. I could go on with these movies for hours. The second one is not as good as the first one. I think the first one is like just so unmatched in terms of like just movies in general. Really, it's up there for me. I think it actually is in my top 4. So yeah, I would highly recommend, if you have not seen these two movies, especially the first one, and if you have and you don't consider it a Christmas classic, then there's The Door. There's actually multiple doors, so pick one and get out. And the same thing goes for the second one. If you don't consider that to be a Christmas classic, again, there's The Door. Go away. Yeah, Home Alone 1 and 2. Awesome films. You know, just they're a must. They're a must every Christmas. Right. So, oh my god, I'm so loud. Right. So that can pretty much concludes this episode of the Porter Says podcast. Now, like I said, if you are still with me somehow, thank you. I'm going to pick what I think is the best Christmas movie and the best Christmas song. So let's go with the song first. In my opinion, the best Christmas song out of that list for me is Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Yeah, I'm going with that one. And then I think you already figured it out, but I think the best Christmas movie in this list and best Christmas movie of all time is Home Alone from 1990. Chris Columbus, not Kevin McAllister, that's the character, and Macaulay Culkin, I should say. Pretty simple. I think you guys saw that coming, considering the fact how much I was praising all these movies, but I think you saw the Home Alone one from a mile away. So, right. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I really do, and I hope I don't come across as being, well, I mean, again, I'm all over the place, but I figured, as I said, you'd be really used to this by now, because that's just the style I'm going for. But I also like to put effort into this one, especially this one. I'm going to put as much effort as I can, as I have in the others. I would also like to say that my first episode is currently at 74 or 75 views, so I really hope I want it to get to 80. I want it to get to 100. So I would encourage you guys to share this podcast everywhere and check out the other places that I have it on, which is only Spotify. But I do plan to get the Patreon, as I said. I plan to get that going. I plan to start filming some episodes that are going to be Patreon only. Yes, I know, how original of me. But I figured that's a good way to get an income, and I genuinely think that this could lead somewhere. At least I hope it does, because I really like it. And I hope you guys do as well. So, thank you so much for watching or listening, if you're just kind of listening to the audio of this. Like, you obviously it is a video, but if you like turn it off and just listen to my voice, thanks so much. And I'll catch you guys in the next Porter Says podcast episode with your host and only host, Heath. Bye bye.